Hey, good morning, thinker. You found a mic. Wonderful. Wonderful. That's awesome. Okay, good morning this morning. It is a good morning. So, good morning to you guys. We're going to start over this morning. We are going to, seriously, I'm going to start over this morning. Hopefully, you guys can hear me okay. Let me know if everything's good. I actually redid the stream thumbnail literally a minute before starting the stream. Because the last comment from the stream yesterday, Thinker, was from you. And you said, what about the story? And I was like, no, I'm not going to focus on story this time. I want to get some smaller portraits out, get them done a little bit faster, more entertainment for the stream. And then the more I was thinking about it yesterday, it kept just kind of poking at me, this idea that I was going for, and, I eventually realized, that's why I do art. Actually, another proponent was my dad is a woodworker, and I always text with him, and he's always showing me his next project. And his message to me, oh, thanks, Tinker. His message to me was, I'm almost finished with this project. Oh no, I finished up this project. He'd been working on this table for a while, absolutely beautiful table. And he's like, I'm so glad it's done. He's like, that happens all the time. I get working on something, and at the beginning it's so much fun and I'm enjoying it so much, but then I'm glad when it's over at the end, because it takes a lot of time and effort to do this creative thing. And when you really put your heart and soul in it, and it takes a lot of time, you have to find something that motivates you from beginning to end, an end vision. And I think about, all the great people on the planet that have lived here and have died here. People that have changed the world in some way, and they, how they've kept going no matter what, through, the hardships that they've had to deal with, to end up changing the world anyways. And that's what we need. That's what we need with our art. We need that motivation, that something at the beginning to keep us going. We really need that. Now, I'm going to go down a very different route. A very different route. It's something that I'm sure you guys probably maybe won't expect, and that's cool. And I'm afraid that it won't be taken well because of the current state of art and how it's against AI art. So this is what we're going to do. This painting here is not created by a human. This was done by AI. And it's absolutely beautiful. It's a beautiful piece. I love the coloration in it. I love so many things about it. But now it needs a human element. It's one of those things where it's so pretty that when you do digital art all the time and you see this and you're like, oh my gosh. You worry about your craft, and if your craft is even going to be around for a long period of time, right? And that's kind of tough to deal with. I mean, I just got in digital art. It's not something I do for a living or anything like that, but I can empathize with individuals. So, how to use AI art as a tool, and that's what we're going to start with today. I'm going to show you. where I got this from. So I don't subscribe. I used to. I actually used to subscribe to Midjourney and generate AI art for influence, for inspiration. And so if you go to the Midjourney showcase, you're limited here. You can't see all of them, but you get to see all kinds of different AI art that's been generated. Some of it's kind of strange and odd. Some of it's absolutely beautiful. Some of it's really interesting. Some of it's really weird. You know, and this is by a ton of people just generating things. Most of the time you'll see scantily clad women, unfortunately, all the time. Then every now and then you'll see something that has a story behind it. This one's really interesting. And the way I use this is I look at it and I was going through these actually, and I was collecting a bunch of them. Let's see, I have resources here, art inspiration. This is my folder for just a ton of art that I collect all the time, and now I have an AI folder in here. And I go through these and I look for colors mainly. I was looking for a lot of colors. Here's the image that I got. And just different ideas, different kind of effects that I'm like, how would you get that? Like if I wanted to paint that, how would I make that happen, right? How could I do that in oil? For example, you know, this kind of metal effect on a face. Looks like some kind of material or whatever. It's really interesting. So I look for different inspirations. Oh, by the way, let me show you a little hack. You know, as a web developer, I know how to do this. So on any browser, Firefox and Chrome, right-click on anything like this image, choose Inspect. Okay, so because you can't download, like if I right-click, I can't download this image. But if you go to a certain place in the code, you'll see the image here. You can open link in new tab, and bam, there's the image. So I can save image as into AI. Oops, it's all named the same as well. It doesn't matter to me. I just care about collecting the image. And this is what I did. I collected that image that you saw from here. And you know what? This is generated by a computer. I really don't care if someone thinks, hey, that's mine. You can't copyright AI generated materials. What you can do is use it as a tool. You can use this as a tool for inspiration. For example, let's look at this one. Let me open up this one a little bit larger. Look how it's split down the very center with like, and you've seen this before in a lot of different art, where you have, you know, good person, bad person on either side or something like that. And it's completely different colors, but look how beautiful these blues and the reds here with this super bright yellow and orange in the background. Could a human come up with this? Yes, of course. Definitely. But I don't really care about the subject. I really love how, you know, the black and all this kind of color fits in with that. It's really interesting. So using it for inspiration. Using it as a tool to come up with a story. Let's get back to the story. So, I'm not going to copy from this AI art. I'm going to use it as a tool. I love the colors. I love the flowing hair. And, you know, I could do, let's do that. Let's make a couple notes on here. Something that's actually good for making notes. It's so light, that brush. It's like a pencil brush, but it's very light. Okay, I'll go back to my writing brush and my favorites. There we go. So what do I love about this? I love the color and the hair. You know why I love this thinker? It's because it's teal and orange. Hey, look at these beautiful teals in here. I should ask you, what do you think about this piece? This AI generated art. How would you use it? Would you use it? Would you avoid it at all costs? Collecting some colors here while we're talking. Oh, and I can't wait to get you on the stream so that we can have a real conversation. This weekend we'll work on it. Super bright teals in the face. Wonderful. Yeah, that's what I really like about this. Got the color and the hair. But we're not going to use this exactly. I'm not going to draw from this. What I also collected was, I'm looking at, and I really should have all these on one right now because I'm trying to determine which one I want to use. And I think it's going to be this one, but we'll see. Yeah, I want to get to the story, what has meaning to me. That's, I mean, you know, the only thing that's going to be different on here is it's going to be what has meaning to me. But hopefully you guys can use that. Oh, good, it's different size. Hopefully, guys, you can use, you know, what I find meaning for me, and maybe I can communicate some principles to help you find what's meaningful for you. So here's what I'm thinking, and we're kind of building a story here. What I'm thinking is, let me get some of these yellows and oranges. Maybe this kind of darker color here, and we'll just stick with this brush. Now, one of these portraits of, you know, a real human posing with real light on their face, although, you know, this one is, it's really too dark. This one here is way too flat, honestly. So flat. This one here has emotion and rim light. What is rim light? This amazingly bright light that's right on the edge, the rim. You know, it's a movie term or photography term, but it's the contour light. That's really beautiful. It has the same angle as, you know, this face here, right? So I like this one a lot. This one, somewhat. Well, I do like the intensity on this one. As compared to the other two, there's no emotion that I can feel here. This person kind of has, I look through a lot of, yeah, so what is the story / emotion you want to portray? Yeah, I got an idea, but I want to kind of work up to it to make sure it's good. But I don't feel like this person's face is emotional. So what I'm thinking about is taking the head and neck and shoulder lines, so just basically this part from one of these figures, and fitting it within not this composition, but, you know, pulling the color of the hair, this red hair, the teal, the colors on the face, into this structure, okay? So we're kind of melding the two in some way, and it's going to be difficult. And I'm glad I'm doing this digitally first, because when we take it into an oil painting, we really need to figure all this out first. And I want emotion, and there's some emotion on this one down here, but not much. So I'm going to say no to this one, no to that one. Definitely. I like these two. This could be two separate paintings, honestly. When I look at these two, um, you know, I think of. I'm not thinking anger with this one here. I'm thinking, you know, this woman is fed up. I'm sorry, this person is fed up. You know, I'll say this: I'm in the Pacific Northwest. I'm out here in the West. I'm, you know, a very democratic area, and I know this doesn't go in. I don't talk about political stuff, but I do empathize with, you know, women's rights in a lot of ways. I mean, I listen to my wife a lot. I love my wife, and we talk about these things a lot. But as I was looking at this one, and I'm thinking about her direction and everything, this is like a person that's like, okay, and maybe it's kind of influenced because my wife has been looking for a position for a long time, for over a year now, and she's fed up. She's like, you know, why aren't they choosing me? They choose other people above me. You know, why, kind of thing. So that kind of frustration. You know, are they choosing individuals over me because they look better? You know, which kind of happens even with men. I mean, I'm so glad I have a position. Me and my long hair and beard. It's hard for me to get like managerial jobs, right? Like, oh, this guy looks like, I don't know what. Anyway, so that's what I feel like. There's some kind of emotion here. There's also a direction. Like, there's this kind of flow of direction. There's this energy that's going this way, you know? Which I love that about this. I feel so much in here. And I could see, you know, the hair, the red hair kind of flowing back and doing all the curly thing, you know, and learning that hair would be really interesting. The hair in motion, the teal, the orange, maybe a lot more space over here, maybe a horizontal, yeah. Sorry for any of my spelling mistakes. I'm trying to write quickly. Now, this other one, this far right, I like this one too because of the flow. There's this wonderful kind of flow and movement through a composition. You know, I could see this being a very horizontal composition as well. And I'm thinking magic. I'm thinking Magic the Gathering card or something like that, where she's maybe got glowing hands, right? On either side. And, you know, don't mess with this woman. She's going to throw a fireball at you or something like that. The hair is already there. It's kind of sweeping back, you know, her energy that she's creating is, you know, it's got her hair flowing in a certain way. This would be a good challenge. It's something that we have to deal with a lot as artists because we can't find the perfect references. So if I want to, let's say, on this one we have a light coming up from the top left, you know, and it's hitting the face here, making, you know, all of this kind of a lit side and the rest a dark side. And then we have some kind of rim light, a blue rim light kind of coming up from below. And I imagine that could happen here as well. Let's close all these other ones. So if I have a light coming from here and then a rim light coming from there, how, you know, I would have to know this form really well, you know, like where everything, all the planes change, and then make sure that I light it correctly in that way. Yeah. So that would be really cool too. Look at the intensity in the eyes. The more I look at the eyes, the more I see that intensity. feel this intensity here. I love how it's not so pretty as well. You know, there's so many photos, you know, digital artists out there that do, you know, it has to be the beautiful woman, right? It has to be the person that could be on a cover of a magazine, right? Not just anybody. Of course, this she's not ugly by no means, or not. Anyway, I'm getting into territory that I could get in trouble with on that. But it's not a kind of position where she's not posing like a model. It's real emotion. I like that. Okay, so I like both of these, honestly. I think maybe we can get two different paintings out of this. Okay, thank you. You say, I think the hand could be emphasized more and drawn into a fist frustration. Oh, this hand here. That's a great idea. Yeah. Okay, let's do this. So you remember the design document that we had that I was using? Actually, let me save this real quick. Control S. No. File. Save as. This is going to be not a JPEG. Krita. There we go. And then I need to open that other one up again. Here we go. All right, it's not that small of an image. I think because this other one was so huge. Okay. I'm going to change the canvas size. So resize canvas. That's under image. You can go Control Alt C as well. And I want the width to be a lot larger. Let's go too large with it. Let's say 2500 at first. And what I'm going to do is get a background in there, because all of this is, all that blank is not helping me. I really like your idea. And instead of us working in that design document, we're just going to go kind of off the cuff on this one. Go a little bit simpler with it. And just working up the composition in this way. I'm going to group these two layers because I want them to move together. But I love the idea of the fist. And I'm thinking that, you know, her arm is probably cocked back this way. Different gray. Her arm is kind of cocked back this way with an elbow. You know, we have the forearm like that. It would probably be a lot larger, honestly. Here's where the difficulties come in. We were trying to turn this reference into something else. It's why the tiger painting took so long. Look at all of those lines I just created, and not one of them is right. And then the fist would be in a different position. Thumb up here. Maybe you see a little bit of the fingers in some way. Maybe also a slight drop in this shoulder as well. Maybe this one comes up a little bit more. So we get kind of a different angle there. Slightly different. We could keep the neck and everything. So the most important part is you know, the head, that emotion. We don't need to see the elbow. So what we can do is kind of take this over to the right. And I love the idea of a lot of space over here. All this space. I love space in art, you know. Give the person a room to move. Give the viewer a place to think, right? We got this, you know, motion. It's going this way. This is what I want to grab. That. All of that. How do we do that? Let's make another layer. So there's this kind of dark light in the background. You see that? How it's kind of breaking there? If we take that and we change the angle of it and we make it, because this is, okay, let's think back to our compositional elements. This is action, okay? We're thinking action and emotion. The last thing that we want to do with action and emotion is to have verticals and horizontals, okay? We don't want any of that. What we want are angles, sharp angles. And all the angles need to go, oops, there's my movement break. Give me a second. The angles need to go this way. So if we can take that gray separation back there, let's keep it separated maybe above the head, maybe right there. No, maybe right. No, let's keep it like right where the mouth goes. Right there. So this would be like in the background. So it would be lighter gray up here, or a lighter color. We haven't really figured out colors. I don't care about colors right now. And then a darker down here. And then this is where the hair will come in. The hair is going to be fantastic. Actually, what I should do here is, see if I can save this. First, I want to save it as a created document. And then I'm going to save it as a JPEG because it was a WPA or WP image, which is like a formatted image for the web, but you can't use it in a lot of places. So I want to make sure it's a JPEG image. Let me make sure I save those. Still asking me to save. Okay, got that. And got that. Okay, good. So I can close this. No. All right, good. Now I want to go to my reference tool, the reference tool, which is oh so awesome. I love that. And then, oh, nope, not that painting. Projects. Where is my love painting? I've been working on that for forever. That's one painting that, like, that's a really good example of what I'm trying to do here. So I got this figure painting that I've been working on forever, and I had such emotion with it at the beginning, but I've kind of lost my way on it, like lost that emotion. So I really need to reconnect with that. But before I go further, I need to take a standing break to help my back. I'm not going to make this an infomercial about back, but if you want to get up and, you know, stay a little bit more healthy with me, get up and walk around. Unless you are sitting. If you're already standing, that's good. Okay, I'm back. That's so important for my back. Last weekend, I was in a lot of pain, and I'm like, never again, not gonna do it again. Sorry. Yeah. Hey, Finish. Welcome to the stream. So yeah, I would like to keep this stream as entertaining as possible, but my health is so much more important than your entertainment. I'm kind of owning this idea of, you know, not having a stream that is super entertaining in a lot of ways. You know, it's... what am I trying to say here? I'm doing what I need to do, you know, what we need to do on a daily basis. It's kind of, it's a little bit more true to life, I think. And that's why I want to keep it, you know, we're so deep into time lapses and things that take, you know, no time whatsoever. And honestly, it's affected my brain in a lot of ways, the way that I look at everything that we do, or everything that I do. And I know it's affecting other individuals. So yeah, every 30 minutes I'll be standing up for a movement break, where I just stand up and I do some stretches and take care of my back. Why isn't that going over? Is it not? Oh, no, it's not a multiply thing. Not getting any darker there. That's interesting. It's weird how that happens sometimes. Ooh, that's a really crazy black. Oh, the opacity's way down. That's what's going on. Let's do it this way. And then I can go to these awesome blending brushes. I'm just kind of throwing in, okay, what am I doing here, Chris? You know, I'm not talking about the art right now. I'm throwing in kind of a background and getting some idea or understanding for the composition. Composition is oh so important here. Let's break up that line just a little bit. I blame the microwave oven. That's where it's all started. The damn microwave ovens. You know, here's what I'm going to say, Thinker. We haven't had a TV or a microwave since like 2004. We burned something in the microwave oven and we never cooked in it again. And then there was never anything good on TV. And we were paying a whole bunch for it. And we were like, why are we doing this? Got rid of it. Of course, you know, internet kind of took that spot in a lot of ways for both of us. But yeah, I'm really happy. I haven't, you know, no microwave, no TV for, oh, coming up on 20 years now. It's so funny, like, we've been in other people's places, and like even even my in-laws who ask me about tech stuff, and they're like, yeah, just throw it in the microwave. And I'm like, how do you use this thing? They look at me like I'm crazy. Like, really? Okay, that's too dark over there. All right, back to the important stuff. Oh, that's a good. Okay. So I really like this kind of stripe here. Like, you know, look at that movement. It's all right here. I want to draw on it so much. Let's go back to here, there. Movement. It's going from corner to corner. Oh shoot, you know what I forgot? Okay. I just randomly picked this orientation, the width and the height, okay? But this is eventually going to go on an oil painting canvas, so do I even have canvas that will fit this? Oh, balls. Okay, so we need to figure that out. No, not that one. I always hit M because M is the selection tool in Photoshop, but it's also the flip tool in Krita. But that's still beautiful this way. Look, bam! Look at all of that. Yes. See, I'm getting emotional. I'm like, this is what we want. Start over, focus on the emotion. That's what this is all about. Finish. Thanks for joining me. Okay, so we need to get the size right. I have two canvases size. I have 20 by 30, which is a large canvas. And then I have 12 by 24 as well, which is a 2 by 1 ratio, which is fun. Let's look at what that's going to be like. So you get your selection tool. I have that set for Shift R, right? No, Control R. Is it? Yeah, rectangular selection tool. And then we want to do, let's do 24 width. So this is just 24 pixels and 12 height, and then we'll lock these two, and then I'll just hit the canvas. Oh, it gives me a ratio of 2. I should know this. I don't do math though. So the ratio is 2, then I can lock that ratio. Now in Photoshop at the very top, if you're like on a selection tool, it has a place where you can actually change the ratio, which is a little bit easier. But we're on Krita, it's free. So there you go. Oh. You gotta be kidding me. Did I make that like by default? That was a total accident. I just picked a number. Canvas size, 2500 by 1200. 1250. That's exactly 2 by 1, except for there's 2 pixels extra. Wow. Let's get rid of those 2 pixels. Like it matters. Oh, jeez. Okay. Random question. Are you familiar with the phenomenon where you find a saturated color in the sharp transition from light to shadow? Yes. I love that. I freaking love it so much. Monet built an entire just set of beautiful work based on that. I think most of his life was chasing that. Yeah. It's so amazing. I wonder if we could see it in photos. In this photo. No, it's not really happening in this photo. Sort of. All right, here's what Finish is talking about. And this is actually, you can kind of see it there. Well, a little bit, maybe. Maybe within that light transition. So what'll happen is right as, and I want to illustrate this. I guess I need something to write with. Sorry. Here we go. Right as a form, so we got a form that's going this way, right? And the light is kind of coming up from below, super intense on this side, but then it fades into like a halftone. Well, all this is halftone. This is highlight. We got halftone. We got core shadow here. We got shadow, I guess. I forget what the terminology with everything is, but right at this transition, right at the terminator, they call it, right? You'll get this phenomenon where in some instances you'll look at something and it'll seem like super bright right here. All of a sudden, the saturation will go from a very, cool saturation to something completely different, just super saturated right there. It's fantastic. I'm trying to understand when and where it happens and what it's called. I found a video that explains it as light fall off, but I still quite understand why sometimes it's visible and sometimes not. Yeah, I have no idea. I know Drew Struzan. He's the guy that did like the Back to the Future posters and all these famous movie posters. Still does them today. He uses the Terminator a lot. A lot of illustrators use this Terminator to really bring out, you know, they make it darker in some ways. He would probably know, but I don't think he does any courses or anything. Yeah, I don't know what it's called at all. I just know it's a phenomenon. Maybe do some research on Monet as well. Because I know he recognized it, you know, way before there was color photography. And then in some photos you won't even see it happen, but it's really, really interesting. I wonder if this AI piece actually does it. No, I really don't see it anywhere. Okay, back to this. It's a good question though, Finish. Yeah, please ask any random questions. The next thing I want to do with this is, and I'm going to start darker with this kind of like beautifully rich dark oranges down here. Look how like saturated that is. I mean, I think it's just all a value transition. No, or does it do like light does and desaturate as it goes lighter? Nope, all saturation, just pure saturation, even into the darks. It's kind of opposite of the way the light works, but it looks beautiful. Next thing I want to do is think about how the hair would kind of flow, and because that's going to be a big proponent for this painting. And I love all of these kind of like swirls of hair and things everywhere. I mean, I love how, I'm looking at the reference down here, which is really small, sorry guys, but let me bring it up actually. Let's bring it up here. Make it larger so you can actually see it. I love how at the very end, it's like stops being hair and becomes some kind of, you know, energy way back here. But there is a bounds to it, a beginning and the end of the hair. See here it's kind of flowing over the shoulder, going over the ear here we can do, but I want to keep that energy. See, if I had the hair coming out this way, it would really kill that movement. So we need to try and keep the hair going like this, but behind the face. Maybe closer to the head as we get to the front. I mean, this is reminding me of kind of like manga in some way. Actually, maybe we cut off the hair. It goes behind the face here, because that's the way the hair would do. But there's some of it, because she has really long hair, that has stayed in front of her neck here. And the wind of her emotions is kind of, you know, of her movement, is keeping it stuck close to her body. But she's still got the swirls, the eddies. Yeah, I'm going to channel Leonardo da Vinci here. He loved water and the swirls and eddies of water. Would draw water for hours and hours and hours. Yeah, I'm loving this. I'm looking at and I'll watch the stream. I'll watch the little tiny video that plays in YouTube of the stream, and I'll look at the composition. And yeah, it's looking really good. The first thing I see when I'm looking at that though is this arm needs to go further up and out, like it extends out. Need to get the anatomy of this right. There's another reason why. Oh, you gotta go? Gotta leave now. I'll catch up later. Okay, cool. Yeah. Thank you for showing up. We'll connect this weekend and see you tomorrow, hopefully. There's another reason to know anatomy, but treat it as, because it was a good question from yesterday. And here's what I'm going to say about anatomy is treat it as just-in-time information. The jacket can be teal. Yes. Yes. That's so true. Look at, and maybe we'll take on some of the reflectivity of that to bring more energy into this. Love it. Love it. So treat anatomy, the learning of anatomy, as just-in-time information. What do I mean by just-in-time information? So just-in-case information is this. When I go in here and I go to my resources and I go for art inspiration, and this is definitely really important, guys, and I keep talking about this. Collect imagery. Collect artists that you love. Collect it from AI. Collect it everywhere. I don't care. But collect art. Okay? This is the information age. If you don't have 10,000, well, not 10,000. If you don't have at least 100 or 200 images right now, I think your number one task as an artist is to go out on the internet and find what you love and then save it to someplace on your computer that you can look at often. This is just in case information. It is information where I'm like, you know what? I really love how Craig Mullins works, right? How it's so loose. And oh, I can't believe I didn't think about Craig Mullins when I was building that looseness, that the references for looseness. And here, I have a bunch of his work collected. This is what I should just do nothing but Craig Mullins. If you don't know Craig Mullins, he's like the godfather of digital art, guys. Like, he started in Photoshop with just a mouse when it was like version 1. It was wonderful. Anyway, he's fantastic. So this is just in case information. So maybe I need it in the future and I have it sitting there. Maybe I need it in the future. That's the operative word. That's just in case. Just in time information, where, you know, how we should be using, wow, lost my train of thought. It just went right off the trails. How we should be using anatomy is when, you know, I need to know this arm. You know, what do the muscles in this arm actually look like? Because I'm making up an arm, okay? That's just in case information, or just in time information. I'm going to go out and search for it, and I'm going to go find it. I'm going to go find what that should look like, okay? And the hand as well. It should be pretty easy. Most likely what I'll do is take a lot of fabric and cover like the back of the arm. Make it a lot easier on myself. So let's take one of these blues here. Lighter blue. So I'm just kind of drawing out a composition here. This is all I'm working with. So this is like, actually let's put that on a different layer. So maybe she has, or they, I'm going to say they, have some flowing gown or something. I don't know. It's still going to go around the neck. It'll go behind this hair and flow out this way. But it's going to cover up the arm here, flow down, or do something like that. But it's going to cover up the back half of this arm. The hair is going to cover up some of the arm. We can have something flowing back this way as well. It'll probably get darker back there as well. So really just obscured all of that. And is the only thing I worry about is if this is just showing the fist here, will that be enough for people to understand? You know, maybe I need to deal with that anatomy, right? Do I need to cover it up? Maybe I shouldn't cover up, kind of thing. So let's remove that even from the equation. Let's actually move it behind the fist as well. And then it comes over the arm. So it's just the fist, the hand, the wrist, and some of the extensors in the forearm. I'm trying to sound like I know something about anatomy in the forearm, which is super complex. Flexors and extensors, those are everywhere in the body. It's just muscles that flex or extend fingers or legs or whatever. Okay. You ever tried one of those 3D modeling softwares where you already have an anatomically accurate figure and you just pose it the way you want? Yes. I haven't. Well, I downloaded, what's the free software? Blender once, and you can get a lot of those. It almost just took too much time just to learn Blender. What was better was, it's either Art Rage or one of those other ones where it's made specifically for comic books, and they have those posable figures built in with the program. A friend of mine, Josh Johnson, look at his YouTube channel. He was doing that, and it was fantastic. All right, let me save this now. File, save as. The working title for this is going to be Red Hair on Black. That's a working title. What do I mean by that? That is not the title, the end title of this work yet. I know the emotion. I know the story. Fed up, maybe. Frustration. Fed up of frustration. I like the idea of titling these pieces just emotion, just an emotional word, because that's what I really want to be able to illustrate, is emotion in a lot of ways. I'm going to kind of scoot that off the side. And I want to look at this on the stream, like in a smaller, I'm going to keep it big for you guys, but when I look at it on the stream, I can look at it in kind of a smaller way. Oh wow, it's beautiful. I love it. I really love it. I think the only thing that I want to add to it is, let's get this big airbrush out, and I'm gonna pick from this super awesome teal here, and that's why we're using this AI art here as a tool to help us illustrate something else, something more. Okay, if I wanted to be a cheating artist, why would I do anything but just, I mean, I would just put my name on this thing and say, look what I painted. If I wanted to cheat myself, that's the most important thing. You know, no one cares if you're trying to sell this on Shutterstock or something like that. Someone will think it's beautiful and they'll buy it from you for, you know, hopefully you get 1 million sales or whatever. But if you're an artist and you're saying, oh, look at the work I did, you're really cheating yourself on that with AI art. Use it to make something that moves people. Don't just steal it like it is. So I want this kind of, because we have a room light there. Oh, and then the point I wanted to make there is just use it as a tool. I'm using the idea of the hair. I'm sorry, but the texture of this hair, if I could do that myself, like if I could learn that, oh, I got AI art beat, you know, for hair at least. I love the kind of structure of the face and some of the colors in the face. So getting that structure, there's so much you can learn from this. It's no different if this was a piece from, you know, Craig Mullins, or pick any other amazing digital artists out there. I would do the same thing. I would learn from them. And I would say, oh, I love how they did the hair, this, blah, 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 blah. And then make something different. That's the kind of thing where you could, go out to the place where that person is, or find their email or their contact information on ArtStation and say, hey, check this out. I was so influenced by your piece that I made my own, and it had, some influences from yours. Okay. Story first. Let me sum this up. Coming to the end. 1 minute before my bell goes off. Trying to get this positioned really nicely. The summary of today's live stream is this. I started a portrait based in not emotion, but in entertainment. The idea that I wanted to entertain people on the stream, which is a good idea. I mean, there's a lot of streams that entertain people, but it was taking me away from the idea of art that I really want and that I've talked about on the stream before, which is, at least for my art, beautiful pieces that also have a story, a narrative, and that are saying something beyond just the surface. Something where another person could look at and say, that's beautiful, and I love the way it looks, and this is the way it makes me feel. This is how it illustrates my life. So I started over. And I said no. And again, thank you, Thinker, so much for asking me that question. Where's the story? I thought about it all day yesterday. Decided I'm going to start over. I'm liking this so much more. And why do we need that? It's practical as well. Because if you're going to embark on a long painting, and long is relative, 2 hours could be long for you, right? Usually about 40 days is long for me. 40 hours, right? We need that emotion. We need something we're so interested in. Like, I feel like I don't really want to stop on this. I could work on it all day. We need that emotion to keep us fueled throughout a long-term painting, to keep us interested in it so we can do the best work we can. Find that and try to keep it in your work as much as possible. And try not to let the outside world and what other people are doing and all the amazing stuff that's out there pull you away from, finding that motivation, that interest, that drive within every piece that you do. And the next part for the summary of this live stream is use AI art. It's beautiful. I'm sorry, there's a lot of AI art out there that is just absolutely beautiful. There's a lot that is really awful as well. It's just terrible. But it's no different than, any gallery or just looking at the human race in itself as far as art. But don't steal it. Don't say, hey, look what I generated, and put your name on it and say, hey, buy this. You're kind of hurting yourself in a lot of ways. There's so much you can learn from it. So use it as a tool to help you in some way, to come up with that emotional idea, the thing that moves you forward, that motivates you. What do you love? There's the question. So you go through all these galleries, you look on ArtStation. Just go on ArtStation, search for Midjourney or AI art, and you'll see some beautiful stuff that were generated in some ArtStation. Ask yourself, why do you think it's beautiful? Why do you love it? And then say, how could I do that? It's no different than looking at any artist's work out there and saying, that's absolutely beautiful. I want to learn how to do that. And maybe that's why you're here. And I'm not going to make beautiful work all the time, but I'm going to try. And here we go. So What are the next steps, Chris, on this? Okay, we got the story down. That was the very most important thing. I'll be thinking about it all day today, thinking about the name. Frustration is probably going to be the name. That's what I feel here. Frustration. Just, frustrated. And I'm going to try and keep that throughout the entirety. Maybe a better, maybe I'll look up some synonyms for frustration and, find a different word that's even more interesting. But I don't know. We have that story. We have something I'm interested in. Now we need to put it together. Digitally, we're going to figure all this out. I'm not sure where to start next, honestly. I'll figure that out today, and then I'll put it up on the live stream. And then we're going to go from there. We're going to try and make a piece that is as beautiful as the AI art on the right, but with the emotion and the humanity that it needs. Yeah. All right, I'm going to step off my soapbox for the live stream. Thank you so much for joining me here, and I will see you tomorrow.